Morning to you. Welcome to Charlene's Kitchen. It's October the 29th, and today we are going to make a pot of acorn and butternut squash soup. Acorn squash, butternut squash, sweet potatoes. Okay, all these root vegetables. So I'm cutting it up. Oh, and it's very hard. And take all the seeds out, and then we're going to roast them. Acorn squash has to be cut in half too, and all the seeds removed. And it wasn't as hard as the butternut squash was. So here we go. Okay, so what I want to do here today is make a nice soup made from butternut squash, acorn squash, sweet potatoes. Get them all roasted up and then put them in a broth. Okay, so I've cut the acorn squash, which I showed you in the previous pictures. It wasn't so easy. Now the sweet potatoes, which I have here, I'm going to wrap those in foil. So I'm just going to put them in foil. I'll put them in the oven all together with the squash. So there's my sweet potatoes. They're going to go in to the oven at 400 degrees. Okay, so now we've got our squash all ready to go, and what we're going to do here is just have a little fun. This is the fun part now, hallelujah, because that cutting that was not easy. So just put a little butter in each little pocket that you have, and I love to use my olive oil and sea salt. It's butter, olive oil, and sea salt, and it's just wonderful with Land O'Lakes. Okay, so here we go. So we've got our little cute little squash, and now we're going to add a little salt. I'm just going to salt just on the top of each one like that. Okay, a little pepper. This is going to be such a wonderful soup. And here we go. Now I'm going to put a little brown sugar in each little pocket. Just in each little pocket. And that's about all we have to do. We're going to put this now into the oven for about 40 minutes and see if it's tender enough. Then I cleaned up really some nice peppers, and one orange pepper, one red pepper. What I'm going to do with the peppers is I'm going to put those in the oven now. I've got the with the sweet potatoes and the squash, I'm going to put these peppers in there too. So might as well roast them all at the same time. So just, and there we go. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to start making that broth. While the squash and the potatoes, the sweet potatoes are roasting, we're going to start our little broth. So now I'm going to add, I just cleaned up about, what do I have here? 6 carrots. I'm going to throw them in there. 2 sticks of celery. 2 whole onions, okay? And I'm going to add about a tablespoon of salt and nothing else right now. I just want to get a nice vegetable broth going. And so we're going to add some garlic cloves to that. I've got about 8 in here, 8, maybe 10, but they were little, okay? So it all depends. And I just throw them in there. I'm going to get that to a boil and then simmer it and let that get into a nice vegetable broth. Get it ready for our squash. Well, last night we roasted all that squash, and I just put that all in a big bowl and I put it in the refrigerator for everything to cool down. And so this morning I simply took all that pulp out and took the skins off, took all the pulp out, and we're going to add it now to our soup that we were preparing a little vegetarian soup. I took this celery and onions out. They've done their job. And I left the carrots, of course. I always leave them, and I mashed them up. And I want to show you how this all looks. At this a beautiful array of colors. The peppers were roasted. We took the skins off, and the sweet potatoes, I took the skin off. Look at that beautiful color. Here's all our seasonings gathered together. And here is the butternut squash. The acorn squash is more yellow. We're going to put those leaves in there, the bay leaves in there, to give it a nice flavor. And there's the carrots that were in this in our soup pot, and I'm going to mash that all up. So all of that is going to go into this broth. All right, so here we go. We're just simply going to add all of this into this liquid that I made yesterday when I started to just with the basics. So we're going to just put the carrots in there, the bay leaves with the acorn squash, and the butternut squash. And we can always add more water as we go, and we're going to add, of course, our seasoning. I see a little piece of skin here. I have to take it off. See, a little piece of skin was on that bottom of that squash. Now with the sweet potatoes, let's move you down here so you can, oops, so sorry. Here we go. Here we go. There we are. And here are, I cut up those sweet potatoes. I'm going to put only half of them in here because I'm not sure if maybe that might be too much. And we'll see how that all gels together because I want it to be a very a thick soup. And by that, I mean, I don't want to be, a lot of the chefs put a lot of cream, etc. I don't want it to be cream. I want it to be a soup that is healthy for you, that you don't have to feel guilty about eating, and I want it to be flavorful, but not creamy. No cream is going in this. No meat whatsoever is going to go into this. So we're going to just have to work up a nice seasoning for this soup. And so now I want to add, of course, the peppers. And I cut those up. We'll just go like this a little bit more. There we go. We're going to add our peppers. And even they are pretty color. Orange and yellow. There we are. We're going to leave these sweet potatoes just in case it's thick enough with the squash itself. So we'll put that to the side. Now I'm going to squeeze a little lemon in here. A little lemon. Like so. I think we need a little bit of that. And I see in there a couple little lemon seeds flew in on me. I'll take those out right away. And I'm going to do the rest of that lemon now. Okay. And a couple little seeds. Let's get those out right away. All right. That's the end of that. Now we're going to bring this soup to a boil and let all of these flavors simmer together, okay? And then we are also going to add our seasoning right now. Now, don't be too discouraged. I had a lot of seasonings that I've added to this thing. And so I have to tell you, in most part, everything will be about a half a teaspoon, okay? And this is what was in this little dish. And so it's, I put about a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. I put a teaspoon of ginger, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now, if you like it more spicy, you know, go for it, okay? Okay, dash a nutmeg, which would equivalent to a half a teaspoon. A half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of turmeric, ground turmeric, a teaspoon of cinnamon, teaspoon of garlic pepper, a teaspoon of celery salt, teaspoon of onion powder, teaspoon of parsley, and a half a teaspoon of rosemary leaves. Okay, so now what I'm going to do with what I have here, and it's all in this little dish. See, it's all in this little dish. I am going to now stir this all up, mix it all up, all my little seasonings that I just rattled off to you. I'm going to put half of this into this pot, and then I'm going to see how I like it. Okay, because I've never made this before. This is my own little idea, so I don't want to over season, I don't want to under season, because I want it to be really the taste of fall. Okay, so we're going to put, I've mixed it all up really nicely. See there? All of that. And I'm going to take about a tablespoon of that. I'm going to sprinkle it around. And there it goes into my soup. And then we'll see how that tastes at the end. Plus our bay leaves are in there also. And I want this to be a nice thick consistency without making a flour and all that. This is going to be pure vegetables. Okay, here we go. I'm going to now blend some of this soup, well, not some of it, all of it, with my little handheld blender here. These are great little I'm just going to blend it all together. And that looks really good. Now, when you, because you have to realize most of this stuff was very tender, and everything was roasted and cooked, right? So I took the bay leaves out so that they didn't get in there. So I'm going to put them back in there. I'm going to show you the consistency and tell you what I'm going to do. It's nice and thick, and this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. But I am going to add about a cup of water. Now I'm going to add that 1 cup of water. 1 cup. I'm going to add the rest of these seasonings that I put together, we did together. There they go. It's just right on. And I'm going to now put, wait, let me stir that a little bit. And now I'm going to add a tablespoon of sugar. Nice tablespoon of sugar. There we go. Here we are. And if you'll notice that in this, I put celery salt, but I didn't put any other salt in here yet. So I think I'm going to be doing that. But I'll taste it one more time. And I want that to just simmer for just a little while, because we just added the sugar. And let's just see, let that simmer again. A few minutes. I just love the creaminess of this soup, and I sort of feel like, well, you know, no milk, no butter, it can't be too bad for my waistline, right? Like I worry about that anyway. But anyway, enjoy. Have a little butternut squash. Think about all the things you put in there. You know, the acorn squash, the butternut squash, the carrots, the peppers, the colorful. And don't you love the color? Happy pumpkin time, guys. Hope you try my recipe.